In today's adventure, we drive 1,372 miles in our 2015 Tesla Model S 85D to explore Yellowstone for 3 days. On the first day, we drive to St. Anthony, Idaho, stopping once at Pocatello to charge the car. After charging it overnight at our relative's house, we then explore the northern area of Yellowstone, hiking Wraith Falls and Mammoth Hot Springs. The next day, after driving down and back to St. Anthony for the night, we explored the southern loop, hitting up Old Faithful and the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. The third and last day, we explore the Grand Prismatic Spring and hike the Overlook. The number one question people ask me when they find out we go on road trips in our Tesla is, how long does it take to charge? Well, the answer to that is nuanced, so the most concise answer is, it depends. But that's obviously not a helpful response. The reality, though, is that there are more factors affecting the speed of charging an electric car compared to filling up the tank of an internal combustion engine powered vehicle. Also, at this stage, there are far fewer fast chargers than gas stations, so it requires more planning, depending on how remote of an area you're traveling to. Because of this question, I decided to include all the charging details in my videos to convey what it's actually like to road trip in an electric car. One big caveat, however, is our Model S is 2015 technology, and the innovation in the electric vehicle space is lightning fast. Newer EVs can charge far faster than ours, and there are many new fast charger locations being added every day. Hey girls.
What?
What time is it?
Adventure time! Adventure time!
Yeah! It is adventure time. Where are we gonna go?
Yellowstone.
That is right. Are you so excited?
Yeah!
Show me your excited faces. All right, let's get on the road. The car is currently charged up to 100%. It wasn't quite done. It said 100, but it was still charging, but I unplugged it. It shows 255 miles. If we jump over here and look at the trip graph, it shows that we'll start here at 100 and that we'll get to the Pocatello Supercharger with 7%. That is this far. If you see here on the map, Pocatello is right there. We may stop here in Tremonton just for dinner and maybe a little bit of a charge. We'll see what we end up deciding to do. We drove for 3.5 hours to the Pocatello, Idaho Supercharger. We arrived with 8% on the battery, so the drive consumed 92% or 72 kilowatt hours over 197 miles. We charged for 24 minutes, gaining 46% from 8 to 54%. The supercharger charges 26 cents per kilowatt hour, so if we didn't have free supercharging, that would have cost us $9.36. We're approaching Pocatello, about 10 miles away, and this is what the energy looks like. The supercharger is right here, and we are right here at a Subway picking up some food, and then we're going to get to the supercharger and get it plugged in, and we anticipate only being here for about 25 minutes. All right, we're plugged in here at the Pocatello supercharger, and we're at 128 kilowatts, so that's real good. I'm happy with that. 129. 130 is the oh, there we go. It's the theoretical maximum, and we barely got there for half a second, and now it's going back down already. We ended up arriving here with 8%, and I just was driving a little bit faster there at the end because I knew we'd get here with plenty of charge. This is a hotel, and there's Jesse and the girls heading in. We picked up some dinner. The Subway took forever, so as long as it took to get the Subway, we probably could have been charged and out of here, but at least we're not in a big hurry. The Subway was right here next to it. There's a few other places in this area to get food potentially, but over here in the hotels where we are, so it's always a bit of a walk to go to any eating establishment. The one convenient thing about this location, though, is that it is directly off the freeway, so that's convenient. Idaho Falls Supercharger, which is farther north, that one's a bit of drive off the highway to get to it, so I kind of like that we're not going to it. And there's the turbo going up on our Model S, cooling down the battery. We are at 53% on the battery and 54 kilowatts on the charge rate. We have acquired 34 kilowatt hours, and it is estimating that we will arrive at our destination with 11% on the battery. So we're gonna unplug and get going. We then drove for an hour and 8 minutes, which consumed 43% of the battery, and we arrived there with 11% remaining. We then plugged the car into the dryer outlet of the house that we stayed in, and it charged for 11 hours and 49 minutes overnight from 11 to 97%. which would have cost $6.96 at 10 cents per kilowatt hour. We've arrived at our destination. The trip took about 5 hours, including the stopping, and the charging took about as long as Subway did, waiting in their line. We are now plugged in here at our house, the house that we're staying at. I've been here before, and so the current automatically switched down to 24 amps because we are on a 30 amp circuit, and it remembers that based on the GPS location. So we're charging at 6 kilowatts, and we're at 245 volts. So at this rate, to go to 100%, if you look here at the limit, we have it currently set to 100%, it will take 14 and a half hours. I'm going to set this to 90%, and that's sufficient for what we need tomorrow. I might send it up to 100% later. So that's going to be 12 hours and 20 minutes from now. And right now it is 9:38. So we're talking about it being done charging at pretty close to 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. So let me show you the situation now that we have set up for the charging. There's a beautiful sunset happening right here. And this is where we have our car parked, right here in front of the house of that we're staying in here. This is a relative's house, and this is the plug-in situation we have right here. You can see I have the car plugged in and charging, and the cord comes down this way. There's some other things on the ground here, some other construction they're doing right now. But anyway, our cord comes this way. This is the mobile EVSE that comes with the car. You can see the light pulsing there. That has the NEMA 1450 adapter on it. Keep in mind this is a Gen 1 EVSE. The Gen 2s look a little different. This is a NEMA 1450 extension cord, it's 30 feet long, and then it goes this way and goes in that window right there. And so I'll go inside now and show you what it looks like in there. And it comes in this window right here, and this is a greenhouse, which looks really cool. And so the cord is coming through the greenhouse here. And then we have an interior screen here I took off, and this is their laundry room in here. So the cord makes the window have to stay open just a little bit overnight, but now I'll go inside and show you what it looks like in there. We're now in the laundry room, and the cord just comes in right there and comes around here behind the dryer, and we're plugged in there. And this is a little unusual because they have a NEMA 1450 outlet for their dryer, which is usually for a stove, but it's on a 30 amp circuit, which I checked already. And so that's why I've moved the amperage down to 24 amps. And so by using an extension cord, it gives us the ability to charge here at the house where we're staying instead of spending more time at Superchargers tonight on our way here and potentially tomorrow as well. And so I love being able to have an extension cord on hand and have outlets to get to, and of course stay at places where they're allowing us to do that. But it saves us time, and this is fun to be able to figure out how to charge the car up overnight. And 24 amps is about enough to get our car fully charged overnight. It's the next morning. Let's see what the charge rate looks like. We're at 82%. Oh, that's interesting. It shows 82% over here, but over here it shows 80%. Not sure why there's a difference. In any case, it's still charging, and it shows another 4 hours to get to a full charge. We're probably not going to wait for that though. We're probably just going to go, and it'll get us to our next destination. To show you that, I can close out music there. I can open up the Supercharger map. And let's see, we are going to be going to West Yellowstone right here. So I can tap the West Yellowstone Supercharger. And it shows that we are down here. It's calculating the route, and it's showing that we will currently arrive at the West Yellowstone Supercharger at 49%. So we have more than enough charge to get there at least. We'll charge up there to be getting enough charge to then be able to drive around the northern loop of Yellowstone today. We are now ready to go at about 9:30, and the car got up to 97%. And it's estimating that we will arrive at the West Yellowstone Supercharger at 63%. We drove 1 hour and 15 minutes, going 71 miles, using 34% of the battery, which is 26.33 kilowatt hours at 370 watt hours per mile, or 82.3% efficiency. That's 91 miles per gallon equivalent. We charged for 1 hour and 3 minutes at the West Yellowstone Supercharger and added 35% from 63 to 98%, which added 25.37 kilowatt hours, and that would have cost us $6 if we didn't have free supercharging. We drove around Yellowstone all day and drove home. The entire day was 255 miles driven at 103% efficiency. We spent 6.5 hours driving and got 294 watt-hours per mile. The charge at the West Yellowstone Supercharger took a long time because we were charging at the top end of the battery when the charge rate is at the slowest, which we did because we wanted to have maximum range driving around Yellowstone. All right, we are here at the Supercharger in West Yellowstone. Girls, how was that drive? Pretty good. They just listened to their stories. Let's check out the Supercharger rate. We got here and the battery's at 64%. It's showing 50 minutes remaining to get to a full charge. With 45 minutes now, we're going to charge up pretty far because we don't really know what we'll need. We're just driving around Yellowstone, so we're gonna go explore. We went exploring the Grizzly and Wolf Discovery Center a little bit, and now the girls are eating some snacks. Girls, how do you like your snacks?
Good.
Yeah? What is it? Oh, Lucy's eating crackers and cheese and sandwich meat, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She ate a cracker sandwich.
Good job, Clara. Looking at the car, we're up to 97% on the battery. It's estimating 10 minutes, but I guarantee it's going to take longer than 10 minutes to go up that last 3% because it's so slow. Down here, we have an 8 kilowatt charge rate. I mean, we get 10 kilowatts at home, so it's very slow. We're going to go ahead and unplug and get on the road. Oh, and where we're headed initially, this right here is the Boiling River we're going to go to. And Tesla's not routing us through the park, probably because the park is a fee area. And so it is routing us all the way up and around and back down, which we're obviously not going to do. So navigation is not helpful right now. What we can do is just tap right here on this gear icon and come down here to avoid tolls. And if we turn on avoid tolls, you'll see that is when it routes us up and around the park. If we turn the gear, if we turn avoid tolls off, then that is when it will route through the park. So that's the key difference there in case this happens to you. So it's estimating that we're going to get to the Boiling River at 80%, and then we're going to continue navigating around the Yellowstone loop, the upper loop right here. That's what we're doing today. And then we're going to come back here and charge back up here at the Supercharger to then head back to where we're staying in Idaho. This part of the drive took an hour and 42 minutes and used 16% of the battery to drive 51 miles to the Boiling River Hot Springs trailhead. We then drove back to the Mammoth Hot Springs area where I accidentally left my camera going while we hiked. Well, bummer. We just got here to the Boiling River parking lot right here, and there's somebody parked blocking it off. So we're not going to be able to visit it. What did she say?
That it's closed because the water's too high right now, but even after the water goes down, they're going to keep it closed for the rest of the year.
Lame. Yeah. Lame, huh, girls?
But if we want to go fishing, we can go on the other side.
Hey, girls. We are in Montana. Now you can say you've been in Montana.
Say I've been in Montana. There you go. Tough crowd.
I guess, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to play in this water, so we're going to go figure out what else we're going to do. We're probably going to go back to this fort, whatever that was called, and check out that area. So we're probably going to go here. Right now we are just here up in Montana, so we're going to backtrack on this short little road down to here to Fort Yellowstone and see what there's to see there. We are currently at 81%. If we look at our consumption, this is what it looked like on the way here. So definitely a lot of elevation going down and pulling us pretty hard down there. So we are having an average of 126 watt hours per mile. So we just parked our car right there, and this is the visitor center, which is closed. And up here is the Mammoth Hot Springs area. And right now we're down in the Fort Yellowstone. So we're just going to explore here for a bit, and then we'll continue hiking up on the boardwalks. And we got some cool storm clouds coming in. Hopefully we don't get wet. What do you think, Lydia? Is this so cool? Whoa. Go, Lydia!
A kangaroo!
Whoa, do you hear that thunder?
Clouds over there.
There's a storm.
Oh, that's just
You ready to get wet?
No. Dad,
What?
look! Water!
Yeah.
Water's coming
That
down
looks so
all
cool,
the way
huh?
to here.
Yeah. We're not even to the top yet, and yet the view is great. What do you think? Does it look cool?
Yeah! Look, look, look! Oh, look, Daddy, another cave.
Wow.
Mom,
That's cool.
Mom, you going down water?
Nope, water's too hot.
They don't want us going.
What do you think of the view?
I think it's a great view.
A great view. What are you looking at?
I can see the whole bridge.
Did you just get rained on?
Yeah.
Did you get really wet?
Still getting rained on.
Still? Yeah, it is just sprinkling. Yeah, we're gonna keep hiking.
And stairs.
Whoa! All the way to the top.
Yep. Girls, what do you think of the view?
It's a great view.
Are you glad we came?
Yeah!
What do you see, Lydia?
A squirrel going up there.
A squirrel door?
Yeah.
Oh, I
I
see it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a cave for squirrels. Ooh, look.
Yeah, we're gonna go up there.
Oh, look.
We got rained on for a bit, but it was pretty minor, so we just hung out under a tree for a few minutes. But the view is pretty great up here. We are done checking out the Mammoth Falls area, and we just walked past the executive houses, and there's this little trail we're on. Hey, you girls having a good hike?
Say yeah.
Yeah.
Mom's giving you a ride on her shoulders? Yeah, that's so nice of her, huh? Did you get an owie on your knee?
She barely survived.
Trip and fall.
It's her fourth one today.
A fourth fall?
Yeah, where's her ankle?
Slipped and fell. Mammoth Hot Springs is right here, and that's where we just were. And we just drove down here a bit to Wraith Falls is the name of this pullout here. We're going to do a short little kid-friendly hike here. It's only half a mile one way. And then we got to wake up our sleeping children that fell asleep in the short time that it took to drive here. And the battery on the car is down to 73 degrees. One thing that's a little bit helpful is I was able to raise the suspension here to very high. And the reason why I did that is because the only parking spot that was available here had to go down this ridge. I don't know that we would have scraped anyway, but it's good to know that you can handle drop-offs. We're on the hike to Wraith Falls. What do you think of the hike, Lucy?
Mosquitoes.
Is it a good hike? No comment.
Lydia, what do you think?
Mosquitoes.
There are mosquitoes here for sure. I can hear the water a little bit.
You sure it's not mosquitoes? They always grow louder when they're about to feed on humans.
You had guessed there would be a bridge, and you're right.
I think the bridge is
What?
right before the end. Oh.
There's water
Oh,
on
no.
the bridge.
I guess we're gonna have to get wet.
However, will we get across?
Hey Lucy, go on the side. There you go, just like that.
Daddy, you might need to do it.
We did it without getting wet.
Did you get wet?
Nope.
There's you
Hey
get-
Clara.
Oh, look, stairs.
The mosquitoes on this hike were quite awful, and we kept batting them away, and we had forgotten to bring any insect repellent, and by the time we got back to the car, we all had a couple of welts, unfortunately. There's the waterfall.
Oh, it is very far.
It's a lot closer.
But Dad, Mom said that this was close and this was far.
It's fairly close. There's Wraith Falls. And that's where we came up. We're at Barrel Spring. What are you looking at, Lucy? What is that? It's a geyser?
That geyser right here made
Yeah.
me really warm.
Yeah. All right, after a lot longer drive than should have been necessary, but people were stopping to look at wildlife, and there was just ridiculously long lines of cars. We finally made it just out of the entrance of Yellowstone, and we checked our route back to where we're going, and we have plenty of charge. We'll actually arrive there with 29% here. I can show you. So we're right here at West Yellowstone, and there's a supercharger here, but it turns out we used so little power on this section of driving that we did today that even coming down here into St. Anthony, Idaho, we will arrive there with 29%. So we're just going to go ahead and go home. This right here is the anticipated trip graph here. The power consumption over the last bit has been very low because we were driving very slow. In fact, I didn't even touch the steering wheel for probably an hour, as the car was just in autopilot going like 5 miles per hour. So we got the kids ready for bed. We put a show on for them. This is a Microsoft Note 2 here, suction to the roof with some sea sucker mounts here on the back of the tablet and on the ceiling. And then there's Lucy and Lydia and Clara, and we're gonna get on the road. Are you excited for your movie, girls?
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
I'll do it.
All right, we made it. We were plugged back in. We're charging at 6 kilowatts to get to 100%. Will take 11 hours, and we got here at 27%. We are back in St. Anthony, Idaho, where we're staying. And I would say today, after having gone through Yellowstone in our Tesla Model S, an electric car, especially a Tesla because of the long range, is an amazing vehicle for driving around in Yellowstone. And here's why. Yellowstone, at least right now, is super, super crowded. Now, granted, we're here on the 4th of July weekend, and so I'm sure that's not helping anything, but I've been here in the past on a non-holiday weekend, and it is very busy usually. There were multiple times today where we'd get in this stop and go traffic, bumper to bumper. You're kind of out in the middle of the wilderness, right? But there's just a string of hundreds of cars in either direction, and there's not much you can do to get out of it, other than I guess maybe turn around and go the opposite direction sometimes. But then you'd probably run into slowdowns that direction. And when you turn on autopilot in a Tesla and you're crawling below 15 miles per hour, which coming home tonight, we actually were heading back towards West Yellowstone, and we had the car estimating 18 minutes to arrive, and we actually arrived an hour later. So the slowdown added 45 minutes in a section where it's just crawling, just slow. And when you're in autopilot and it's below 15 miles per hour, it does not require you to have your hands on the steering wheel. It doesn't remind you ever. So like I went for probably a good 45 minutes without touching the steering wheel. I just sat here watching, making sure that nothing was going wrong, but we were just crawling at like 5 miles an hour or completely down to a standstill. So Teslas and electric vehicles are more efficient when they're going slower, especially that stop and go stuff. And so our watt hours per mile over a 30-mile average was about 202, which this car is rated to consume 300. So it did remarkably well on the watt hours per mile, and part of that, that 30 miles was driving at faster speeds, but people still drive very slow in Yellowstone because they're just rubbernecking the whole way through the park, because that's why they're there, to look at the views. So very, very slow driving throughout. So we actually got to West Yellowstone this morning and charged up to 97% and left, and we went up and did the Mammoth Springs area most of the day, but we also went east a bit on that northern loop, but we didn't keep going because it was getting later in the day, and you can't do that whole loop right now anyway because the whole eastern side of the northern loop is closed for construction this whole year. So we ended up turning around and just come right back, which is kind of what we had expected once we figured out the road was closed early this morning. And so in any case, we didn't even need to stop and charge at West Yellowstone at the Supercharger there on the way home like I had expected to. We still had plenty of battery, and we ended up getting here at, I think it was 27% when we arrived, and I've just plugged in. It's now up to 30% a few minutes later. In any case, we were able to drive so efficiently throughout the day that we had plenty of power to spare throughout. So tomorrow we're going to go back and do the southern loop, and in this case we should be able to do the whole loop. So we'll see how the range looks, but I'm expecting we'll probably have to charge at the Supercharger on the way out to be able to get back down here to St. Anthony where we're staying. In a nutshell, I really love driving this car though, and it works really well in this setting, being able to look through the glass roof and see the views up above too, here and there when you're near cliffs. And the kids really enjoy sitting back there and looking at the views. And then with the efficiency of the speeds in the park and the non-frustration of being able to just let the autopilot taking care of the traffic, it was a pleasure that way. So we'll see how tomorrow goes. It's the next morning. We're gonna get going. The car charged up to 100% by about 8:30 a.m. and it's now down to 99%, and we're at 9:52, and we're gonna get on the road. We are back here at West Yellowstone. You can see, looking at the sign over there, that we are at the Grizzly and Wolf Discovery Center, which is where the Superchargers are here in West Yellowstone. Looking here on the map on our center display, this is West Yellowstone right here. And then we're going to be charging up here and then coming across this road, and then we'll be going down, hitting Old Faithful along this side of the road, coming across the bottom, finding different things to check out, and coming up this east side, and then up here at Canyon Village is where the Yellowstone Grand Canyon is, and then we'll be cutting across here and then back here. So depending on what we do in here, we don't entirely know how much range we will need, and so normally when we're traveling around, we know where we're going and we know the distance, and we just charge for enough to get to that location with some safety margin. But in this case, going into an area that has no superchargers or very much electricity, it's wilderness, we're just going to charge it to near full or maybe completely full, so that we make sure we have enough range to do what we want to do today. Charge rate here, we're down to 34 kilowatts. It got to about 41 initially and has come down a little bit, but this is about what I would expect when the battery is at 70%. So normally about now is when we'd just unplug and go to the next supercharger, but we want it to be nearly full. So we'll be here for probably close to this amount of time, maybe half an hour. We might unplug a little bit early, but we'll see what we need to do. Okay, show me your silly walk and to walk towards me. Are you gonna sit there? Is that a great seat? It's perfect for you, huh? Alright, let's go eat some Cheez-Its. Lydia's got the water. Can I see your hair? Whoa, so cute. And then this is Lydia's hair. And then here's Clara's hair. So cute. And the car is almost charged up. Right here we can see that it is at 94%. It's estimating 15 minutes. And it's down to 12 kilowatts. Pretty slow. At home we charge at 10 kilowatts for a point of reference. But we'll get this up to near 100% just in case, because we don't want to get stranded in Yellowstone. We are back in the car. The kids are all strapped into their seats, ready to go. We're at 97%, down to 7 kilowatts, so we're gonna get out of here. The next place we're going is to Old Faithful, and it looks like it's estimating that we'll arrive at Old Faithful with 82% remaining. Driving to Old Faithful took 58 minutes and used 15% of the battery to drive the 32 miles there. We've arrived at Old Faithful at 82%, as the car had estimated. There's Lucy riding the seesaw with Old Faithful in the background. And Lydia is on this side.
Wow.
Is Lucy being funny?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Too high. Whoa. Too high, Daddy.
Is it?
Yeah, not too high for me. I'm holding on tight. Well, Lydia, you're not making very much room for me to do that.
We are waiting for Old Faithful, huh? Are you so excited, Mom? Lucy, are you excited?
Yeah, I'm excited.
There it is. Are you so excited, Clara?
Yeah!
I think this is it. Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
That's just coming out of the ground.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool, huh? Did you glad you waited now?
Yes.
We're back in the car. We were able to connect to the Tesla via the mobile app to turn on the air conditioning, so that was nice getting into a cool car.
Did you like Old Faithful?
Yes.
Was it cool?
But the other out.
Yeah. It shot water out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's go see more cool things, all right?
Yeah.
Hey girls, there's the buffalo on the side of the road.
Wow.
What do you think, girls?
Right.
That was pretty close.
Departing Old Faithful was full-on gridlock for a long time, only to get out onto the perimeter road to be in intermittent bumper-to-bumper traffic some more. We stopped at a pullout to explore the lake briefly and to take a break from being in the car. We're exploring the edge of the lake next to Yellowstone.
This is such a fun. I don't know what.
You found a rock? Oh, yeah. And you threw it. Is it cold? Yeah. Not cold?
This is glacier water.
We then continued on, driving 28 miles for nearly an hour to the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. We are at the falls, the upper falls. Are you so excited? Let's look at, there it is. We're looking at the waterfalls in the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. That is so cool.
Right down that water.
What is that doing?
Yeah. Clara, what do you think of the waterfall?
Another one.
What do you think, Clara? That's so cool. Okay. We're at Inspiration Point at the Yellowstone Grand Canyon, or Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. And we're sitting here eating right next to the car. And Jesse is in there making more sandwiches. And there are a lot of bugs on the car. Oh, scary. At this point, we then began heading back towards West Yellowstone to exit the park. And this is the view right now. There's a huge long line of cars, and this has happened many times, and I'm sure will continue to happen, but just long lines of cars always. It's kind of like a Disneyland park where you're just in lines the whole day. But at least the view here is awesome.
Wow.
And just as an update for our Tesla, the battery is down to 44%. If you can see that right there on the bottom left. And we can see over here, our watt hours per mile is 199, which is excellent. This car is rated to consume 300 watt hours per mile. So we're down a third from its normal. And so the thing is the data has been pretty much non-existent all of today. If I zoom out here, the map still loads somehow. I guess it does say E up here for what it's worth. But we drove down this road here, all the way around this way, and then all the way up this eastern side, and then across here. And this entire day, there has been no data on the car, or at least not very strong data. And occasionally it'll show LTE like this. But then if we try to navigate to the Supercharger, it just chokes and just says cannot find a route. So I don't know what's up with that, but I just I'm chalking up to weak data, because you can see now it says E again. Autopilot, of course, as you can see, I have autopilot on. You can see the auto steer is on right there. That's the blue steering wheel, and this is the set speed. and it works amazingly here in Yellowstone with this ridiculous traffic, long lines for like an hour at a time sometimes. It is just the best to be able to turn it on and be able to interact with occupants in the car while you're of course watching and making sure that it's doing its job. But like, it's bringing us almost to a complete standstill on a regular basis, and so it's just nice that it kind of takes care of the stopping and the starting for you. If you look here, sometimes it detects the car in front of you, and the car will turn blue if it's just following the car in front, and other times it'll have the blue lines on either side where it's indicating that it's following the lines of the road on either side. So there you can see the car just turned blue and the lines disappeared. I have found it tends to switch to the lead car when you get very slow or come to a stop. I think it's because it doesn't totally know what the lines are doing. It can't see them very well if they're not just constantly flashing by. We're getting amazing range, and that's largely just due to the fact that we're going so slow throughout this park on a regular basis that it gets really good range, and so we're only at 44%, so which is good. We're going to be getting back in about 13 miles, or 36 more minutes of driving is when we're going to be getting back to the Supercharger at this rate. So we'll probably be barely around 40% after having gone around the whole lower part of the park. Girls, what have you thought of today in Yellowstone?
Great.
Was it great? What did you think of that waterfall? Was that waterfall amazing? Was it scary?
Yes, scary.
Any thoughts about today?
To say that.
I thought the waterfalls were really cool.
Yeah. A lot of water flowing over that thing. A lot of water. We are back at West Yellowstone here at the Supercharger. We had actually navigated ourselves to where we're going tonight, and it had us estimated to arrive at 20%, but we needed to get the girls situated anyway, so we just decided to plug in while we did that. So we're now up to 59% on the battery, and we're gonna go ahead and unplug and get on our way. The girls are set up with a movie here. Are you excited?
Yes.
Are you all excited?
Yes.
Clara? That sun's right in your face, huh? All right, we are done. We are back to St. Anthony from our day at Yellowstone. Leaving the Supercharger this morning at 97% was enough to do the entire lower loop of Yellowstone and go down to St. Anthony, which is an hour and 15 minutes away from West Yellowstone. So we had really good efficiency today, but we had it good yesterday too. It was around 200 watt-hours per mile. The traffic was a little bit better today. There were fewer backups than yesterday, but still plenty of backups that were for no good reason other than like a buffalo far away or a moose that you couldn't even hardly see. In any case, it was a good day. Kids had lots of fun, and the car performed admirably, of course, as well. We ended up getting here at 32% because what we actually did is we stopped at the Supercharger in West Yellowstone, even though we didn't really need to, but we needed to resituate some things in the car and get the kids ready for bed and stuff. So I set up another movie for them to watch on this last segment coming home, because we were coming home kind of late. And so we went ahead and stopped in the Supercharger for just a couple of minutes and got some extra energy while we were at it. And now we're back at the house here, and I'm plugged in the 24 amp charge rate that we've been doing. The charge rate is 6 kilowatts, and that's what it's going to be the whole time here. And so it's going to take 10 hours to charge up from 33% here to 100%. 10 hours, right now it's at 10:13 p.m. And so we're going to be charged up plenty in the morning for when we leave. And today is the 4th of July. As you can see, everyone is lighting off their fireworks. So we're going to go enjoy that. I thought I would just kind of summarize our day here, and then we'll see you tomorrow and what we end up deciding to do, which we haven't entirely decided yet.
Oh, that was awesome! It's awesome! Whoa! Whoa! No more!
All right, right, it's the next morning. We're gonna go for our third and final day into Yellowstone. The car is charged up to 99%. I had set it to 100 about 8 this morning, and it is now 10:15, so it's been sitting for a little bit. We're going to be going to the West Yellowstone Supercharger again, and we'll potentially top it up to 80 or 90% there, and then we'll go into the park. We've made it to West Yellowstone, and the traffic was really bad in the opposite direction, so everyone's leaving town, so that's a good sign for what we're going to experience in the park today. And you can see we're up to 41 kilowatts, which is about what I'd expect, 63% battery, so pretty much the same thing as what we've experienced on the other days. This is saying 50 minutes, but we're definitely not going to be charging up as much today, because what we found is that the elevation goes down to get to St. Anthony, where we go in the evening to stay, and so we need less charge to get there. And we're not really going really far into the park today, at least we're not planning to, so we're just going to go up to probably 90%, and then we'll head into the park. To give you an idea of time, I changed the charge limit to 90%, and it is saying it'll be 25 minutes. Girls, are you excited for the Yellowstone Park today?
Yeah.
The battery is at 91%, and we're down to 18 kilowatt charge rate, so we're going to get unplugged and go explore Yellowstone. Lucy, what are you seeing out the window?
Buffalo.
Yeah?
And a geyser! There's buffalo by a geyser!
Oh yeah, so I can see the geyser way up there. And the buffalo are right there. There are a lot of buffalo out there. Is this the most buffalo you've seen on this trip, Lucy?
Yes.
I think it is. We're almost there. We're right here, and we are heading down the road to the Grand Prismatic Springs right there. We've arrived at the Grand Prismatic hot springs area. We are currently parked up here in the parking lot, and if we look at the battery, we are at 80%. Let's go check it out. Are you excited, Lucy?
Yes. And I did my bottom seatbelt for the first time by myself.
Oh, you're getting more capable all the time, huh? You're a big kid.
Yeah.
Are you excited for this hike?
Yes.
Okay, let's go do it.
Yeah.
Are you excited for this hike?
Yeah.
Yeah? It's gonna be awesome. This is where we're going.
Daddy, me and Sarah are Pegasuses.
You're a Pegasuses?
Yeah. What is that?
That is really hot water flowing down out of the hot springs just above it on the hill. That's all steam.
That makes it look like the boiling river.
It does. You're right. The boiling river also has hot water flowing into it. Look through the fence. What are you looking at, Lydia?
Water.
Water?
Hot
Really hot water. Yeah, that's right. Let's go up to the top and see where the hot water is coming from. Hey, Clara.
Hi. There's a little island. Wait, there's a duck in there.
What?
Where?
There surely is not.
Yes, I see a little.
Oh, I see what you're looking at, I think, and it's just a stick or something.
No, it's a baby duck.
It is not a duck.
As a baby duck, it's dead.
That water is really hot, Lucy, and it would burn the duck.
You can tell where the trail goes next. Or the path goes.
Yeah.
This way? Alright, let's keep
That
going.
way.
Let's see how to get over there.
You don't like it here, Lucy?
Yeah, it's too hot.
It's definitely a really humid place to hang out because we are downwind from this.
Hi girls, how are y'all? She look pretty.
Watch out!
$32 steps for what?
to get to the shade.
Oh, we're on the trail to Fairy Falls. We're on the trail to of the Overlook for the Grand Prismatic Springs, I think it's what it's called. And
See a waterfall.
we will after this, maybe. Clara fell asleep, and Lydia is having fun. Quite different. Lucy, same. Here's the lookout. What do you think of the view, girls?
Were there a lot of cool ones around it though?
You think it's cool?
The one behind it is really nice. Yeah.
Was it worth the hike up here?
Remember when we went on that walk earlier?
Yeah.
On that boardwalk around the hot spring?
Yes.
That's where we were.
And now we're up here.
It looks cool from up here.
I agree, Lucy.
You can see the colors a lot better, huh?
Again? Better.
Lucy, are you glad we came up here?
Again?
Guys, where are we headed?
What?
Where are we headed?
It's very fun.
Have you seen any fairies yet?
No, but
We have heard some. We just heard one.
Sounded like a monkey fairy.
I think it was a whistling fairy.
There's a buffalo
There's a buffalo.
right on the side of the road.
All right, we are back from Yellowstone, back to St. Anthony, and you can see the battery is at 40%. It's 82 degrees outside. Looking over here, we plugged in and we're charging at 6 kilowatts, the normal 24 amps here. It's estimating just over 7 hours to charge up to 90%, which is what the charge limit is currently set to. Our average consumption on the way back was 213 watt hours per mile, which is way below the 300 line, which is this the solid gray line right there is the 300, which is what this car is rated for. And then the dotted line is what we got at 213. Overall, having driven around Yellowstone now for 3 days, the power consumption is way lower than my normal trips that we usually go on because there's just a lot of slow driving, lots of people in the way, and not that we were in a huge hurry either, but they're definitely not in a huge hurry. So that just makes for really high efficiency as you're driving around. So today we charged up to 91% at the Supercharger going into Yellowstone, and then we didn't charge at all on the way back. We just came all the way back to St. Anthony and we got here with 40%. We didn't drive all the way around either of the loops. We just went down the southern loop down to pretty much to Old Faithful and then back up and back out and did some hikes in there. So we didn't drive as far as we've done on some of the other days. But it was a fun day. We just did some leftover things that we hadn't yet done on the other days. Okay, Lucy's gonna show her clogging. Great job. Lydia's turn. It's a dance-off. We are back in the car and we're heading home. The car was charged up to 98%, but we've driven just a little bit, and so it's down to 96% now. This is what our route looks like today. We're up here in St. Anthony, Idaho. We'll be driving down here to the Tremonton, Utah Supercharger. It's estimating that we'll arrive there, if you can read that, with 11% battery remaining. We will charge there for maybe half an hour, probably less, frankly. And then this Costco is moderately near our house. And so we'll charge at Tremonton until the estimated arrival at Costco is 10%, and then we'll be getting home. This drive took 2 hours and 15 minutes, using 91% of the battery, or 70.65 kilowatt hours, to drive 182 miles. We used 234 rated miles, so that's 388 watt hours per mile, or 77.7% efficiency, or 86.9 miles per gallon equivalent. We're at the Tremonton Supercharger. We're only getting a 70 kilowatt charge rate at 4%, unfortunately, because there's only 6 superchargers here, and you can't really see them, but there's already 3 people, and they're on every circuit already. So we're gonna just have to charge at this charge rate until one of them moves, and then we'll be able to move over to a faster charge rate. It's estimated 40 minutes at this point, so that's a bummer. We need about 53% in order to leave. All right, happily somebody left, so we were able to move over. We were up to 33% already, and plugging back in, it got up to 80 kilowatts. Now it's down to 77. But now we only have 20 minutes remaining. Been here a couple minutes, so not too bad now. The charge is up to 58%. We are going to be arriving roughly at our destination at 9% right now. We're going to wait till that is 10, and then we'll unplug and go. The first charge was 19 minutes and added 29%. Then we moved to another charger after someone left, and that was 20 minutes and added 26%. So I guess it didn't really save us any time. These charges combined would have cost us $11. We then drove for 1.5 hours to get home, which used 44% of the battery over 106 miles using 325 watt-hours per mile, or 92.9% efficiency, or 103.8 miles per gallon equivalent. We are home. We arrived home with 15% on the battery. So the estimation from the Tremonton Supercharger was a little bit low actually, and we ended up coming in even higher. Our average watt hours per mile on the way was 270, so that's partially to explain why we arrived with 15 instead of 10%. Looking at the tripometer, I had forgotten to set this right when we left, but it was set the day before we left. You can ignore the name there, I forgot to change the name, but we went 1,372 miles on this trip, and total energy was 415.5 kilowatt hours, and 303 watt hours per mile was our average on this trip. We're happy to be home now and comfortable in our own house again, but you know, as always, going on trips is lots of fun and we make lots of fun memories. And this trip we spent literally no money to do it. No housing costs, no fuel costs. The park cost was a park pass, so kind of a sunk cost there. And you want to get out now, Clara? All right, I'll stop talking on the camera and I'll get you out. With that, thanks for watching. I hope this has been helpful, seeing the details of how we went about using an electric car to visit Yellowstone. We created lots of awesome memories, and we couldn't have done it without a vehicle of some sort. I'm certainly really happy with the cheap operational costs of our particular choice of vehicle, and the kids appreciated the charging brakes to stretch their legs. As the primary driver in our family, I absolutely love driving our Tesla.